Geometry Dash has tons of memorable songs. At the Speed of Light, Beginning of Time, Chaoz Fantasy. Even if you don't recognize these by name, you are more than likely to recognize these melodies even if you don't play the game that frequently. However, there is one song whose melody was known by a huge chunk of the community, but nobody knew anything else about it. In this video, we are going to talk about a song that thousands of people have heard in their careers, yet nobody knew what it was called. A song that hundreds of players have looked for, yet they couldn't figure it out. This song took 8 years to find, despite it being hidden in plain sight. This is the most mysterious song of Geometry Dash. Let's get started. Our story begins in February of 2015. The Steam version of the game had just come out, and people were still getting used to playing their favorite mobile game on PC. This milestone completely changed how we viewed the game, and it allowed everyone to push the difficulty ceiling to limits never seen before. However, some people weren't interested in taking advantage of the then new release in this way, and they chose to pursue more creative endeavors instead. This is Project Utopia, a texture pack created by Etzer and Vibrant that just so happens to be one of the first, if not the first, documented texture packs for the PC version of the game. You could say it was one of the most popular texture packs of 1.9 and maybe even of all time, before it was made obsolete by updates to the game and eventually also taken down by Nintendo. And this pack didn't only replace the game imagery, but it also replaced some of the music. Most notably, here's what you could have heard if you played a level in practice mode. And this was the song that drove people mad. People really liked it and they started wondering where it came from almost immediately. But nobody got any response. So, as time went on, theories started popping up. Our search really begins in January of 2016, with a Geometry Dash forum thread created by the player Visionary. This thread initially didn't seem to go anywhere as nobody recognized the song, and people thought that off-topic discussions about necroposting would be a more productive use of their time. That was until one day Visionary himself noticed that a download of the song posted in the thread earlier by Abstract Dark had EliteFerrex listed as the artist. Could he have been the creator? Was the solution right in front of us the whole time? EliteFerrex wasn't the only artist suspected of making the song though. Imagine this. You are an up-and-coming musician who wants to show off their music skills. At the same time, you are also a very popular Geometry Dash creator, with a very big following. And you are in charge of creating a highly awaited texture pack that hundreds of people are waiting for. Is it possible that this is exactly what Etzer did? Time to start the real investigation. We are now in early 2023 and a lot has changed. The song itself has been slowly regaining popularity, from nostalgic players and newcomers alike. But nobody seems to have made any real progress on finding it. We went almost 7 years without any news. So finally 2 independent research tracks have formed. Or well, maybe calling research tracks might be a bit too noble. What we really did was make a few tweets to get people interested. The first track was started by a now deleted tweet made by ZX, where they expressed interest in finally finding the origin of the song. And it was this tweet that finally prompted people to properly investigate. You see, even though EliteFerrex was thought to be a possible creator of the song for years, nobody ever properly validated this claim. Sure, people have noticed that he didn't have any uploads with the song, but nobody ever did any research beyond that. So Screw the Stairs finally did what people should have done a long time ago.
So I had this guy, Screw the Stairs 8591, reach out to me on YouTube today. Hey EliteFerrex, I'm on the hunt for a song, and I think you might have made it. Have you ever worked with a guy named Etzer? So I thought about it, and no, it wasn't a name I recognized, but so he linked me to this song that he's looking for, and I told him I would try and help. So now I've already listened to the song, and it does sound a lot like something that I would make, but unfortunately it's not one that I recognize, and I did not make it, so.
Unfortunately, the answer was disappointing. Not only did we find out that EliteFerrex didn't make the song, but he also didn't recognize it at all. It really seemed as if we are as far away from the truth as possible. Despite that, however, his video caused a snowball effect that nobody expected. And it was this video that finally prompted me to investigate the Etzer theory. Now this theory wasn't without merit, and even Viper himself mentioned it as a possibility when Alphalenius asked him about the song a few months prior. He was unable to confirm it though, as he lost all of his Skype chat history a long time ago. If we look at Etzer's Newgrounds page, we can see a total of 27 songs uploaded between the years of 2015 and 2017. Obviously none of these songs are the one we are looking for. That would be a bit too easy. But it may not be for the reason you expect. You see, before he started uploading his own songs, Etzer was re-uploading music made by other artists. Now it's not like he was trying to pass it off as his own. These re-uploads were only meant for his Geometry Dash levels. And he did credit the other artists. But this was still against Newgrounds rules. And even though he never really got punished for it, he still decided to start over on a new account. And this is what threw me off for a long time. I originally thought he couldn't have made a song, as it only looked like he only started making music in April of 2015. But what I didn't know was that he had an old unknown Newgrounds account. An account that he didn't only use for the old song re-uploads, but also for his first original songs. And this doesn't just include Forgotten Kingdom, his very first song that he had already uploaded here in December of 2014, but it also includes a song that was most likely meant to be the menu loop for the texture pack. Nice tune, but also very different from the final one made by EPS Sounds. It still shows, however, that Etzer probably wasn't entirely opposed to the idea of using his own music. So let's finally try to answer the question. Could he have made the most mysterious song of Geometry Dash? If we look at the file itself, we can see two important details present. The year when the song was made, which is 2014, and the program used to create the file. In this case, the popular music creation software FL Studio 10. And this is where our first holes start appearing. As in the YouTube description of Forgotten Kingdom, Etzer said that he wished he had FL Studio, implying he still didn't have it 2 months after the pack was released. And if that wasn't enough, when he finally got it, he got version 11. Now it's not like he couldn't have just upgraded. In fact, he has switched to version 12 later on. But I find it very highly suspicious that he would use version 10 just for this one song. These findings left the community split. Some people still believed he made the song, as there was no better explanation. Other people, myself included, argued that the timeline didn't make sense, that he couldn't have made the song if he only seemingly got FL Studio in April. Ultimately, neither side got a satisfactory conclusion. Viper didn't remember anything, and Etzer had long since left the community. So I wrote a short thread on Twitter about my findings, and decided to put the whole thing on the back burner. And that's when it happened. Just as everyone was about to give up, Eyebrow stepped into the picture, and she had one more trick up her sleeve. She figured out that by filtering Newgrounds for the correct metadata, she could severely limit the number of songs she'd have to go through. This might sound like an obvious idea, but she also found out that the song length, which was the most important thing here, was stored in a slightly different way than most people expected, which would have thrown off most other people attempting this search. This allowed her to bring down the number of potential songs from tens of thousands to a much more manageable amount. And all of this culminated in a tweet that simply said, "Found it. It's by Steam Pianist." And there it was. A Newgrounds link to the song that players spent years looking for. Found in the library of an artist who was already very well known in the Geometry Dash community. The song that was once thought to be impossible to find. Just sitting there in plain sight, with less than 200 listens. And only 4 Geometry Dash levels to its name.